In the last video, we talked about understanding and really acknowledging that drinker's self before you can move on, right? You first have to know where you are before you can figure out how to get to where you want to go, right? Now, if you missed that one, then you can watch that one first. You can watch the whole playlist up here. In today's video, we're going to look at how visualization can really be a powerful tool in moving you beyond that drinker's mindset. All right, let's first of all get on the same page with what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the drinker's mind. It's the programming that exists right now, right? It includes the habits, the rituals, all the thought processes, the mindsets, the ideas, everything that's keeping you hooked up to the drinking right now, in this moment, right? This is the programming that contains all your triggers and all your rewards, right? It's the programming that's limiting your life, limiting your view of what life could be like without alcohol. Remember what we were saying about the drinker's mind in the last video, that it's actually shepherding your thoughts down a really narrow track. And that makes it difficult to see how your life could operate outside of that habit. How can you see yourself socializing, doing all of these things? How can you direct your mind to doing something different if you don't know how to do it? If that drinker's mind is keeping you locked in a certain direction, right? It's narrowing that field down. It's not only doing that, but it's filtering out all the other ways of seeing things. And I think this is important. It's like living your life with one of those blinders, you know, the ones that they fit onto the horses. This is what can really make life without alcohol seem very bleak or outside of your reach. So now let's also get onto the same page with visualization. And I'm not talking about here about anything that's woo-woo, right? Anything that's wishing things into existence or expecting something to magically appear in your life with no effort from you. You know, you get these people who talk about, well, I want to get a Ferrari, and then they expect that Ferrari to appear in the driveway outside of the house. That's not what I'm talking about here. It's about trying to imagine a future for yourself, a future self that inspires you, that compels you, that motivates you to do the work that is necessary. Think about it like you're fixing in your mind the person that you want to be and practicing the mental rehearsals towards getting towards those images or those pictures in your mind or that person in your mind. Now, get into that best possible version of yourself, right? It's always going to be complicated. And I've always found that the best place to start with these things is by breaking it down to the simplest thing that you can do. And one example that I found with my clients is to try and break down a single day, right? Think about your best day, or think about a really good day. What would that day look like? So don't look too far in the future, you know, maybe 2 or 3 months in the future, that's it. Let's go 3 months into the future, and it's been 3 months since you had your last drink. Look at what your best day could be. What does that best day look like? How does it feel? What are you doing? What activities are you doing? What are your plans for the day? Where are you going? Who are you going to do it with? Now we can break this down even further. You know, break it down to just a couple of hours of your best day. And what does that look like? I'm a big fan of what they call a solid morning routine, right? If you make a great start to your day, you're much more likely to continue in that same way throughout the day, right? Start as you mean to go on. Now, what does your morning routine involve? What time do you get up? What's the first thing that you do? What do you do then? What are you having for your breakfast? What are you going to do in that first hour? What are you going to avoid as well? These are one of the things that I always try and do. I avoid all news, all negativity. I try and just stick to the things that are giving me positive feedback or positive vibes, filling me up with positive things. Of course, you don't have to choose a period of time like this, right? You can choose maybe how you are going to handle stress in a particular situation. Maybe you're going to, how you're going to handle a social situation that you're going to be in, right? The point is that you put yourself into a specific situation, one that you're likely to encounter, one that might cause you problems, and the more specific that you can be, the better, right? Then you see how you're going to solve that particular problem, how you're going to be within that particular situation, how you want to be ideally, you know. You can see where you are, you can see who you're with, the time of day, the weather, maybe the triggers that they happen, so on. You know, and like I said, bring in everything. Try and make it as realistic as possible. You know, I spent a lot of time in the early days doing a specific form of yoga called Kundalini yoga. I went to classes for the first 2 months, and I just ran out of time to do that. So I started downloading videos, and I was doing the classes on my own. And gradually, I kind of kind of contracted these things. So I do the Kundalini yoga maybe 2-3 times a week. And as part of that practice, I'd have a visualization at the end of it, maybe only 2 or 3 minutes long, while I was cooling down. And it really helped me to establish where I wanted to go that day, right? But in general in life, just to put me into a good mood, a hopeful mood, right? All the positive stuff, imagining my future, not only the distant future, maybe 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road, but also next year. What was I going to do next year, or next month, or next week, right? Like I said, it's all positive stuff. I also used to do a negative visualization technique. This was right at the beginning, right? This has nothing to do with yoga now. And it was something that really helped me to fasten on to the potential consequences of what I was going to do. And I knew there was going to be negative consequences. I could go back to the beginning of my time as stopping drinking alcohol and scaring the crap out of myself and thinking to myself, you're not going to be here for another decade. And I seriously think that now, that if I hadn't stopped, I wouldn't be here now, right? I'm 12 years into this journey. So the negative stuff is imagining the opposite of what you want to happen, right? Obviously. So everything you want to avoid at all costs, or some of the things that you want to avoid at all costs, and you're taking something that is happening now and you're extrapolating that out into whatever it is, 2, 3, 4 years down the road. And a really strong visualization that I had was, it was whatever it was, 2 or 3 years down the road, and that's the time frame. And I've got cirrhosis of the liver, and I'm in the last stages of this, and I'm in this sick bed. I can't get up out of this bed, and the doctors are telling me that's it, I'm finished, right? I'm totally screwed. And my son is stood there over me, watching, looking down at me, and my liver isn't metabolizing any of the toxins anymore. It's screwed. Like I said, I'm screwed. And all the toxins, instead of being metabolized by my liver, are leaching out through my skin. And there's a smell, and it's a bad smell. And my son's standing over me with this look of helplessness. You know, there's a mixture of pity and disgust in his face. And I know I've done this to myself. And it's a difficult one to put yourself through any of these type of visualizations, because you're taking something that you love so much. Like I love my son beyond, you know, it's just one of those things. You've got a deep, deep love for somebody, or deep connection with somebody, and you're turning that into a real negative in your mind. Not for them, but for you. But it's really effective. If you're looking for something to motivate you to keep going, you have to make it as emotional as possible. They're the best motivational things that you can have. They're hard hitting, but they're effective. I remember this one much more than any of the positive visualizations that I went through, because it's nasty, but it's the nasty ones that are the most effective. Now, if somebody said to me, do this visualization thing, I would think, you know, you're trying to make me do something that's unnatural. But just think about it for a second. We're going to Ireland after Christmas in February. And before I go to Ireland, every time I go through these things that I'm going to do with my son, right? All the walks I'm going to be taking with him, all the places that I want to go for food, to sit there with my son, my family over there, all the different things that I want to do, seeing my granddaughter, right? Seeing the smile on her face, the laugh, the days that we're going to go down to the beach and watching her running around on the beach, right? So using my imagination for this, projecting forwards, looking forward to anything in your life, right? Imagining anything in your life. It's the same thing. You know, it's easy to imagine these things before I go and do them, because I've done them before, right? It's much more difficult to imagine the things that you haven't done before, living a life without alcohol, doing the things without alcohol. I mean, I think it's a lot easier to go through the idea of saying what's going to happen to you if you don't stop drinking alcohol, because you're already going through a milder version of that. So you just have to ramp it up a little bit, right? And say to yourself, well, if I'm going through this now, what am I going to be doing in 5 years' time? And I'm telling you, it's a great mental exercise to do. So I want you to start out very slowly with this, right? Start with what you know already. Start with, you know, everyone's woken up, even as a drinker, you've woke up, but you haven't had a drink for a couple of days, and you feel good in the morning, you feel fresh and you feel clear. Well, I want you to imagine that as if you're waking up like that after 30 days, you know, maybe you've had this before. If you've done this before, it's such a benefit to you, you know, to have that experience that you can pull on. Imagine doing your job with the fullest, the clearest mind, right? Imagine changing the job to a job that you want to do, right? Spending quality time with people, spending time with people that you care about. Like I said again, stick to the things that are simple in this. If you're able to see it, you're much more likely to make it happen in real life, right? Feel the emotions, see the colors, smell the beach, right? The salt in the air, feel the breeze on your face, the sun in your skin, the sand beneath your feet. You know, this is all realistic stuff. The more realistic you can make it, the better. Spend a little time on this, just visualizing a small part of your own journey, where you want to be in, let's say, a month or 2 months or 3 months. Share it if you like in the comments down below. If you want to share a little bit of your perspective, it'll really help other people who are stuck about how to do this, where to go about this, right? So also, if you haven't taken our prep module yet, it's still free. You know, it's going to help you get in the right mindset, right? Get your mind in the right place, and to help you to look forward with a clearer mind of what you want to achieve in this, right? Looking forwards to the things that you want to do instead of looking back to things that you can't change, right? Now, in the next video, we'll be digging into positive reinforcement. We'll talk about how you can program yourself with positive self-talk and how it can help to cement your new identity. So just as a couple of closing thoughts, your mind is the most powerful tool that you have, right? If you use it well, it's going to help you to live a happy, contented, fulfilled life. And for me, I focus more on the walk I'm going to do today, right, or tomorrow, right, where I'm going to go next week, the places that I'll go, the people that I'll see, right? To quote, I don't know who said that, Dr. Zeus, was it? I don't give a damn about what's parked in my driveway, right? Or even if I have a driveway, I don't care about the house that I'm living in or any of those. I care about having a nice warm house, a nice warm bed to sleep in, and that's it. None of the other stuff matters, not to me anyway. And as long as I can have a table that I can sit to have my dinner, and I can look up into and have a chat with somebody else who is also sitting down at that table with me, somebody I care about, a happy face to look at, then I'm contented with that. I want to wake up in the morning looking forward to the day ahead. I want to go to bed that night excited about the possibilities for the next day. And I'm good with that. I'm contented. And that's all I want, right? I'm grateful for that. I've learned to be grateful for the smallest things, because it's in the smallest things that you can find the biggest pleasures, if you see it like that. Then I don't have to escape anywhere. I don't want to escape anywhere. I'm exactly where I want to be. So you can see the next video in the series up here or here, and the playlist is also there. So I'm Kevin O'Hara for Habits V2, signing out. Keep the alcohol out of your mouth. Onwards and upwards. Take care. Bye now.